The family lawyer slid a document across his mahogany desk and said the words that shattered my world. "I'm sorry, Sarah, but your grandmother left everything to charity." Everything. The sprawling Victorian house where 5 generations of my family had lived. The antique collection worth hundreds of thousands. The trust fund that was supposed to secure my children's futures. Gone. All of it, gone. My grandmother Eleanor had raised me after my parents died in a car crash when I was 8. She was my everything, my mother, my mentor, my safe harbor. We baked cookies every Sunday. She taught me to play piano on the same bench where she'd taught my mother. She promised me that house would always be home. "There must be some mistake," I whispered, my hands trembling as I stared at her signature. That familiar cursive that had signed birthday cards and Christmas gifts for 28 years. Mr. Davidson, the family attorney who'd handled our affairs for decades, shook his gray head. "I'm afraid not. Mrs. Eleanor was very specific. The entire estate goes to the Children's Hospital Foundation." My throat closed up. "What about the letters?" She always said. "I know this is difficult, Sarah. But your grandmother's wishes were clear." I stumbled out of that office in a daze. How could the woman who tucked me in every night as a child, who held my hand through my divorce, who cried happy tears at my wedding, just erase me from her life? Erase my kids from their legacy? The drive home was a blur of tears and rage. My 8-year-old daughter Emma ran to greet me, her gap-toothed smile so innocent. "Mommy, did you see Great-Grandma's house? Are we moving in soon?" I broke down right there in my kitchen. Emma had been so excited about finally living in the princess house with the tower room and secret passages. We'd planned which bedroom would be hers, talked about planting roses in Eleanor's garden. For 3 weeks, I was a zombie. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. My ex-husband Mark kept calling, demanding to know what was happening with Emma's inheritance. The inheritance that no longer existed. But then something shifted. I was going through Eleanor's old photo albums, the ones she'd given me years ago, when I found something that made my blood run cold. A letter. In Eleanor's handwriting. Dated just 2 months before she died. "My dearest Sarah," it read. "I've been thinking about the house, and I want you to know that no matter what anyone tries to tell you, you are my true heir. The house is yours, as it should be. I've made sure of it." My hand shook as I read it again. And again. Eleanor hadn't disinherited me. Someone else had. I called Davidson's office immediately. "I need to see that will again. Now." This time, I brought a magnifying glass. And there it was, something I'd missed in my shock the first time. The signature looked right, but the paper was wrong. Too crisp. Too white. Eleanor always used cream-colored stationery for important documents. Always. More digging revealed the truth that made me sick to my stomach. My cousin Rebecca. Eleanor's other grandchild, the one she'd always compared me to. Rebecca got into Harvard, Sarah. Rebecca's engagement ring is gorgeous, Sarah. Rebecca's so successful, Sarah. Rebecca, who'd visited Eleanor exactly 3 times in the last 5 years of her life. Rebecca, who worked at a law firm. Rebecca, who had access to legal documents and connections. I hired a handwriting expert. 57 points of difference between the signature on the will and Eleanor's authentic signatures. The will was a complete forgery. But here's the thing about Rebecca, she was always too confident for her own good. I showed up at her office unannounced, carrying a folder. "We need to talk about grandmother's will." Her face went white, but she played it cool. "Sarah, I know you're upset, but..." "Upset?" I smiled sweetly. Why would I be upset about this beautiful handwriting analysis? I slid the expert's report across her desk. 57 points of forgery, Rebecca. That's enough to put you away for fraud. Elder abuse. Grand theft. She started stammering, making excuses. Her law career, her reputation, her fiancé who didn't know she was a criminal. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice steady as steel. You're going to call Davidson right now. You're going to confess that you found a mistake in the will. The real will, the one that leaves everything to me, will mysteriously turn up in Eleanor's papers. Sarah, please. Or I call the police. And the State Bar Association. And every news outlet in the city. I leaned forward. Your choice, cousin. It took her exactly 37 seconds to pick up the phone. The corrected will materialized within hours. Funny how that works when someone's facing felony charges. But I wasn't done. I made sure Rebecca's law firm found out about her little forgery hobby through an anonymous tip. Amazing how quickly partnership tracks disappear when you can't be trusted with legal documents. Her fiancé received some interesting information too. Turns out he had strong feelings about honesty and integrity. Rebecca lost her job, her relationship, and her reputation in the legal community. All in 1 week. The house is mine now. Emma has her princess room, and we've planted those roses. Every Sunday, I make Eleanor's cookie recipe in her kitchen, and I tell my daughter stories about her great-grandmother, the real ones, not the lies Rebecca tried to bury. Sometimes at night, I walk through those familiar halls and I can almost hear Eleanor's voice. Justice has a way of finding its path, sweetheart. Always does. She was right. It just needed a little help. Rebecca tried to steal my family's legacy, but she forgot something important. This house isn't just about money or property. It's about love, memory, and the bonds that can't be forged on fake documents. You can't fake a lifetime of Sunday cookies and bedtime stories. You can't counterfeit the way Eleanor's eyes lit up when I walked into a room. And you definitely can't forge your way into someone else's inheritance without consequences. Sometimes people think they can rewrite history to benefit themselves. They think a signature on paper can erase decades of love and connection. But DNA doesn't lie. Hearts don't lie. And eventually, neither do family lawyers when faced with evidence of felony fraud. Eleanor always said blood is thicker than water. Turns out, it's thicker than forged ink too. Have you experienced something like this? Tell me in the comments.